All right, what's up, guys? We're resuming here with the promotion series. It's Swiss round 4, the 2-1 bracket. NRG, NA's last remaining team, playing against G2, top seed coming out of EU. We'll see how they handle this. We've got a couple of scouting report tidbits that we'll go over during the series, what's been going on with these teams. NRG has been on a meteoric rise since a very weak start, something like 1-3 to NA Summer, all the way to winning and then coming back here. So they look to be in pretty good form. Nothing special. Everyone's just kind of doing their job. Dokle's been playing pretty well. Palafox's been playing pretty well. Ignar is the only real world-class player on this team, but they've been doing great. So, and most importantly, just doing the fundamental things right. We'll see if they're able to keep it up in this draft. Looking at the bans, we have Draven, Callista, Tristana, so a nod towards Hansama's strength. They're really trying to gut him out. Answered by Orianna, Xayah, and Alistar. We've spoken many times about the power of a Xayah ban during the selection process, making sure that you're not getting pinched in the draft. Nico being picked, Blue 1. Responded to with Kai'Sa and then the flex pick from Rel, most likely to be into the support role, but can be played in the jungle as well. Cassante and Vi being paired, making it very easy to get a tank front line. We've got really good formation from the front three. It's going to be very easy to set up for your bot lane from there. Plus, we have Vi Nico, which is super lethal, starting at level 6. Really, before that, using Q Flash from Vi to initiate. Syndra as a response. So both of these witches in the mid lane often both get responded to with Merc Treads. We'll see whether or not either of them decides to deviate from that. Second round of bans, we have Olaf and Viego matched with Rakan and Renata. With the pool pinched, I love to see this Senna Kench put together by NRG. It's a fabulous lane, not quite on the level of Sona Seraphine in this coach's opinion, but I think it's absolutely fantastic. Tahm Kench is just very, very strong, and it was responded to with Belveth. So they're looking for this push, some sort of push combination. Syndra should have a lot of push prio against Nico, or a lot of threat, I should say, from longer distance, longer range. So if G2 is able to get Herald, they might have a position where they're able to create some 1-3-1 threats. They should be very comfortable in those spots. Nico being a little bit better in side lanes than Syndra. Rel being a little bit more threatening on the roams, but Senna is going to provide that huge endgame scaling threat. See how it pairs out. So let's check out the game. All right, here we go. We're on the Rift. Early starts. I wish they would give us a little bit more time to see exactly the paths that people take to get out here. But we have fan out versus fan out. Oftentimes you'll see Senna Kench actually go out and try to pick a fight because those stacks can add up for the Senna. She can go in. If you haven't seen this lane before, of course, we're going to have Spectral Sickle. We're going to have Tahm Kench farming. Tahm Kench with the Doran's shield is virtually unkillable. In the lane, you have the thick skin that's healing him, the Doran's, the fact that it's going up, the fact that you have Revitalize, you have a Senna that's throwing Qs through you, and you have Second Wind in the runes, and you see that right there. And also having Font of Life, meaning that anyone that he impairs will also get ticked down. Approach velocity being a big part of the kit. Sometimes you see like a Hail of Blades build, but Guardian being very popular for keeping the Senna in good shape. It also means that if you save someone that's ignited, for example, or taking damage while you chomp them, they get that shield inside you. Always when you pop out, you'll get that big shield, the big chunk. Go from there. All right, so we see an aggressive start here. Three wards, battle wards being drawn here by G2, getting into the jungle. Now this is a leashed start for contracts, which means that he will be very comfortable to go for a counter invade once this is snuffed out. Senna Kench is going to try to trade early and often, right? You want to try to get to a low health bar with Tahm Kench so you can take advantage of that extra healing from the Dorans. You're just super, super strong. And that whole time, all of those trades, the Senna is gaining stacks, right? That's the theory behind it. 20 stacks, you're a competent lane. At 40 stacks, you're feeling really good. All right, they see Yike right here. If Yike has to pull out of that, does not have smite, might mean that Senna is actually going to be the one to get this. This is absolutely huge, the fact that they're able to take something back here. Now, Kai'Sa's stepping up ahead of the wave. They're buying some time. Now, Vi is deciding to not invade. Normally, you'd see a lot of action on the other side where Vi might go over here. The fact that she's coming over means that we might get Senna some really big stack promotioned early. She could have played this much more aggressively because Vi was nearby. If they tried to punish, they absolutely would have gotten that door slammed on them from behind, and they'd be missing out on the waves. But Senna Kench opting to go towards the wave now. Rel, having been a little bit chunked out, takes the recall here, means that Kai'Sa's left alone in a lane way down here, deep line of scrimmage. She should not be comfortable to go forward. Tahm Kench should be looking to zone, and Senna especially, to try to farm those stacks. Really, it's an awkward spot. Anytime that you get frozen on as Kai'Sa versus Tahm Kench Senna, it feels really bad to try to get out of that situation, because if you're trying to lean forward to absorb XP, then you're giving stacks to the Senna, and she's getting that harass off on you, right? She's also getting the spectral sickle stacks as well. So you're giving her tons of resources by you trying to absorb anything. And this position right here with this deep push, you see that she's very, very comfortable stepping up. Ignar very comfortable coming up. All of these trades will favor the Tahm Kench by a mile. Now, Contracts, I want to talk about this. Thought that he had a window to go in here to take Raptors. Bel'Veth ended up sneaking back out and going straight across to Raptors to combat. So Vi gets the read on that and says, okay, my correct adaptation is to come over this way. I'm going to come straight over and start stealing your camps. This is especially impactful against Bel'Veth, who needs to be stacking up her passive as the game goes on. Now, the biggest part of her strength for one-on-ones, yeah, it's that passive, right? It's the ability to use that E later. Palafox, a couple of erroneous movements there. But the big source of power for this Bel'Veth is going to be in the Void Pit right here. Whenever you get that Void Queen passive going off and you're able to get the Mystic Remora pushing, not nearly as good as it used to be. Bel'Veth, for a long time after release, had this hidden power, and she was on top of our meta sheet for something like 6 months, because the power of the Remora was just so significant, right? It was impossible to stop those pushes. If your team was organized, it was just way too easy to make it happen. But after a couple rounds of nerfs, it is back in the reasonable stratosphere, the realm that, it's okay. It's solid. It's a good pick. It can still be used super high tempo. Still love to do it in solo queue with Ziggs. If you guys have been benefiting off of the Ziggs freelo recently, hold on, we've got an engage. Ignar, you see the power of the lane right here. You just pivot, right? You just want to be that front source for FBI on the Senna. You have so much healing in your kit. You have percent missing health healing every time you land that Q. And you just go up. You want to be that pivot point for the Senna to throw the spells. But yeah, ever since the changes to Bel'Veth, much worse, but Ziggs is exceptionally strong right now. You can easily get pushes with Ziggs. You can easily get mid-prio with him. You could even play bot lane and rotate him over. You absolutely want to take this and move it together in through the pushes to make sure that you get those Remora stacking onto the waves and getting onto the turrets. I think right there, those extra movements that he made, I'm sure of it, and this is a bug, right? This is something that is in the coding of the game. They're just not very good about it. You can slip up on your coding. There are inputs that you can put in that will skip back to your champion rather to your clone. Small indie game company, what can you expect? But usually when you set up the clone, you want to juke with the clone and then run straight away with your own body. Make it look like you cast the clone in a straight direction and that you're jittering to dodge with the other one. But all it takes is one command that draws the aggro of the other character, and then suddenly it's going to go back on you, and it's going to say, oh, no, you want to move now, right? No, that's not what we want. Not in that case. So anyways, I'm happy to assume that that's it. It could also be that Palafox was just trying to head fake them by being like, oh, yeah, no, I'm actually the one juking. I'm being way too random. This is 2-0. But again, like, it was just too much back and forth. Made it easy for the continuation to come up. All right, Dokla versus Jax. 7 versus 6 has a little bit of a spike. Could take an advantageous fight here. We actually see a pretty big lead building here. This is not something that we expected. Jax has a lot of effect in this lane. Every time that his counter strike is up, he has threat. He can move forward and go for advantageous trades. This is also a grasp Jax. Sometimes into the Jax versus tank matchup, you'll see lethal tempos because you want to be able to carry that fight into late game situations. When you're going for grasp, you're saying, I really want to win the lane. Much the same way that Camille 4 years ago, right? Same way Camille versus Volibear. Volibear was the #1 tank, right? And to beat them, Camille started going grasp. used grasp to survive the lane phase, but it did necessarily mean that you were much weaker going into the side lane phase of the game. Jack's not really looking to split push to win, even with the existence of a Hullbreaker. Teams do not seem to feel comfortable right now going for a split push strategy. You know, they'll fix the waves, they'll play for the side waves and what they can accomplish with threat in the waves, but they're not really going for a split push win condition the way that Fiora used to go. All right, Palafox realizing that you need to get out by going forward. Beautifully done. Baits out. They overstep. Wonderful combination there. That is so fantastic. To realize that you are being pincered in and the only way out is in. Wonderful. Oh, we might get some snacks right here. He's thinking about it. This stage of the game, these will probably be the last times that you look for offensive uses of the Tahm Kench ultimate. Later in the game, it's pretty much always going to be used as a tool to get one of these characters out of a pinch. Especially the Senna, right? Just reposition, get a big shield, ignore whatever damage is coming in. Rift Herald goes down to Vi. That is such a big nerf to Yikes Belveth. You really, really want to get the Void Remora buff going on her. So huge early game here for NRG. 1.8k in the lead. They've got Eye of the Herald that they're going to be popping for value. Senna's getting her stacks. I'll give you an update as soon as we see it. 40 stacks on Senna. So this is the point where she outscales. All right. She just plays from better. She's got that longer range at 60, 80, and 100, right? It just continues going up. The raw amount is going to affect her stats, right? We're talking about the crits and the bonus damage. But those range spikes at the 20s are definitely the moments where Senna is looking to spike. See how Ignar just steps up right there, uses Guardian proc to shield them a little bit. That's really good usage of the kit. Here's the play, right? Realizing, hey, wait, they're going after me. There's actually a Q going in my face. Rather than try to escape, I can actually turn back into them, get all my spells right into them, means we get all this damage up front. Beautiful knockups, completely one-sided. Mickey has to run. Tahm Kench almost gets a kill for himself as well. Just a very, very nice play. Now, where are they going to opt to drop the eye, right? In professional games, it's not going to be like in solo queue where you can expect to get a kill somewhere and then drop an eye and maybe get a whole turret. You usually have to use it for some amount of tempo. Right now, it's in Vi's inventory, so she easily could have dropped it before going for this dragon, but they're feeling very, very strong here. Senna in the vicinity. 3 Tahm Kenches, what a terror. The river demon. How could you possibly lose if you're in the river with 3 river demons? I don't think it can be done. I think they've solved the game. I think there's nothing left to be done. Just pick Nico, Tahm Kench, and go exist in the river, and I think you're good. You could even play River Shen and a little River Treant. Shen getting some ancillary buffs. Nothing that actually says Shen, but they nerfed all of the runes that scaled, and they left Grasp, they left Aftershock, they devalued plates. Many just like small things that indirectly they nerfed Hullbreaker, which was a huge problem for Shen. There's a lot of things that make Shen stronger. Expetu finally lifting the boycott on the champion. We'll see. Don't know how much the pros were considering that, but there's a chance they were. There's a chance, right? That champion just didn't feel good in any of these positions. Hold on, we get the flash engage. Q flash R. Belveth in position to get a 2-man stun means there's no continuation here. You have to be really careful if you're Dokla. A lot of chunk could come out. Syndra doesn't really get much value after going after Cassante, because Cassante can just hold down the W and protect himself against the damage and potentially reposition himself to get an all-out anyways, right? You're just doing him a favor almost by putting him down low. He doesn't have any reservations about going for it. Look at this play right here, going for multiple different stacks. Going for all the plates. Good engage right here while the teleport is coming up. But there's 1 minion alive, which means Nico's going to take this. That means you get full value on the Senna ult. Ignar actually jumping forward, taking a little bit more damage than you probably wanted it to. Now we're going to have the retreat clean win again. This Kench is unkillable. This is an uninhibited ribbit. By the way, I can't wait. Prime Gaming, apparently, you know, this little sponsor, thank you. But Prime Gaming, that what are they calling it? Brom W is the emote that looks like the Keck W, but it's going to be exclusive to that. Can't wait to get my hands on it. That guy is from the region in Spain that I am from, or pretty close. And just we get a lot of joy. We get a lot of joy from that man. So it's good that he'll be commemorated in an emote forever, immortalized for all the Braum players out there and everybody else. 2.7k is the gold lead. Jax does stay behind in the lane, right? This is something that you absolutely want to do. Even if the play didn't go well, the fact that you used the teleport, you don't want to just go here and rebound to other lanes. You actually want to go and get something. He does get that wave pushed in. We have an answer from Nico. We also have aggression in the mid lane, so potentially a little bit of a punish for Senna. Fresh out of the base too, so that's going to be, she's going to want that one back. You just got back out onto the map. You just got your wards. You have all these items. You're feeling super, super comfortable about it, and yet you don't get anything. Here we go, the Nico Vi combination that we've seen so many times. Even more threatening than the Ahri Vi that we saw all last year at Worlds. Nico, whenever you're going for this, you know, Vi is going to use most times Q flash for the engage, then R for the continuation. The R allows you for the knockup, gives you enough time for the E here from Nico to land. If E passes through a minion, then we'll just call it E2. Then it's an extra amount of time, doubled amount effect on the spell. Keeps them in place. So that Q 1, 2, and 3 all hit. And it also gives you time to throw your ultimate on top of that as well. So just a brutal combination seeing the two of those together. But here we go. The edge of that stun. How come Ignar was not... Did he just not have his ultimate here? I suppose it must have been used in the last fight. I didn't actually see him use it. Broken Blade not giving enough credit for the fact that two people are missing, and it's the two most deadly players on the map. Oh, Kai'Sa in the side lane. She's going to get ripped apart. Again, you see the effect there. Kai'Sa just does not belong in that position. We're after 14 minutes. That's Syndra's job to just clear that wave and leave. If they're putting Kai'Sa over there, it's because they want to set up strength. They want Syndra to get the better push and try to make room to go over for the Herald. But now that the fact that Kai'Sa is dead means that Nico pushes this wave, she's going to come hover. Vi's going to take the Herald, and that belongs to NRG, which means that nothing goes to Bel'Veth. G2 trying to come with a very proactive response here. You see how Broken Blade's trying to take away some of that space right there, hovering right next to him. Ends up having to blow his flash. Dokla playing this fantastically. But you see what G2 did, right? They say, all right, we died here. We know that they're strong because they just moved here and Vi's taking the Herald. So we just go for a push into a dive bot. What you just needed was a little bit more patience there from Broken Blade. Wait till you actually have abilities to line up together. Dokla punishes the syncopation. Oh, that's so funny. Oh my goodness, that's going to feel so bad. Yike doing a good job to get his E off in response to the root, but it's still not enough. Cap scattering the Nico into the Bel'Veth. Oh, everything's coming up spades right now. Beautiful tempo. Vi is just flying around the map, seemingly getting a kill every single time that she's casting her ultimate. This is a huge part of this champion's power index, right? And her ration, right? Her power ration is put into this ability, and if you're connecting and getting kills, then you're going to be able to get a lot of extra effect. What I love about Vi for this composition, it buys enough time for this guy to land. It buys enough time for this spell to land, for this spell to land. It even buys enough time for you to position for this. So the Vi lockdown is enough to set up anybody on the team for connecting damage. It's just easy, making it look easy. Fox, let's see. We already had the spell going, so can't have credit for reacting to it, but was invisible when the scatter happened, meaning that the surprise for Bel'Veth when the body comes flying over to you and she is the projectile. Beautiful flash by Vi. Another example, by the way, buffering your spell, right? Cast R, then do your flash, right? When you cast your R, when you flash, it doesn't add a different movement command, so it will hold on to the last movement command you've made, whether or not that's a right click or an auto attack or a spell being cast. And especially in the case of single target spells, it means that you'll be able to go forward cast that right away. They're going to rip into Hansama. They're trying to play forward. Look at this beautiful positioning right here. This is very well done. They're moving together. Tom Kench even eating the Cassante to allow him go. And we have all 5 champions dead. 17 minutes into the game, we have an ace. Everything is coming up. This is a slaughter. NRG is up by 7K with the Eye of the Herald going, or the Rift Herald going, popping. This is surely going to die. And we might even get Ignar. If they can chain this into another Ignar kill, this is a big deal because this will stagger their deaths as they approach into the rest. I like that Vi used her ultimate there, securing the kill. And now you have syncopated backs where these champions are going to feel pretty bad about moving forward. Now, right now, G2 should absolutely look for a play if you can find it. You've got the hex plates. You should have been going after this. This enemy team has so much gold in their inventory. If you allow them to recall, they're going to consolidate their wallets. Turn it all into items. Very early all out right there. Normally you want to all out in response to the end of the Counter-Strike damage, but beautiful with the Q3 knockup, getting a lot of extra action. Dokla moving to the side, jumping over, flashing to buy himself time. You see how Ignar's getting ready right here. You get a knockup, boom, swallow so that there's no counterplay. Wait for the cooldowns to come back up. The cooldowns are up. I'll jump out and we'll continue with all the kills. So nicely done. Now, a little reaction right here. You see that little blue blurb that jumped out? When someone's in the hex gate, you'll be able to see it on the map. If you're watching, you'll see this path. And as they select where they're going to go, a little blue dot will just pop up. All right. And it just looks like this. All right. And so when they're coming out, boom, they will shoot over to that. What you want to do to counterplay to make sure that you're not giving it away is as you enter the radius of this thing and it starts lighting up, only then do you want to click the direction that you want to go in. And if you do it before then, you're basically locking yourself into one position, one spot, and making it a little bit too easy for the enemy team to punish you. Good little positive affirmation right there. Let's go. We got this, right? Something, you could see him almost like shaking with the amount of joy he had. Exaltation, right? And then you just... if you're up there in the rapture zone and then something goes wrong, you get that huge crash. So you want to be up there, but boom, come back down. Cheer on your team. All right, that's sick. Let's go. Right? And you do that. You have that moment where you bring yourself back to that level. You're resetting your baseline. You're letting your whole team know, like, hey, that's a good thing we just did. Now let's continue the job at hand. Let's keep on going until it's done. NRG just ballooning. You see this just going straight up. And mostly it's on the back of successive kills, right? It's just been 1, then 3, then 1, then 1, right? It's just like non-stop. There's always someone dead from G2, meaning that they're never able to claw themselves back into the game. Normally the hex map is one of those maps where you can get back into the game because you can make plays quickly. All right, speaking of making plays, you see ward lines right here. Boom, we've got the little box of wards here for NRG. We've got the opposite side controlled by G2. They're trying to get a shallow line of vision out, but they'll never be able to contest this control ward as long as NRG stays in the vicinity. So they're going to keep that control ward down. They're going to fight for mid-prio, and then you can see them leak back into this area most times. They might spend a moment to go over and get themselves a 3-dragon lead, because they know that there's not very much answer. But the one thing you don't want to do is go over to Dragon, have the other team take an advantageous position, and then hold a line of scrimmage where you might have to go into them, into a Scatter the Weak, into a Rel Ultimate, you know, Jack's Counter-Strike, etc., and have 2 people bite the dust to start a fight. That's the one thing that you really have to avoid in order to make sure that you're not punting away this game. Sometimes you'll see it in the form of pushes plus roams, right? You see Nico feeling very safe to come over here with this ward line. You see that she's very, very comfortable. She can even throw a spell at the Baron. No harm in doing that, because if anyone does jump in over the pit with the intent of killing these wards like the Rel just did, then the Baron would already be aggroed, and you'd be able to hit that Rel for extra damage, and thus you can protect your control ward for that much longer. Nico doesn't do it, so Rel's able to jump in and clear the ward. They also have 2 wards for themselves right here. This is a big miss for G2, the fact that they weren't in the vicinity to try to get something out of it. They do try to create this little ward line. You've got a deep control ward in the pit. They're putting that as far back as possible so that it's easier to defend. When you're losing, you want to hug this to the wall. You do give up a little bit of vision right at the mouth. You can't see the mouth. This ward cannot see a ward right there. But by tucking it all the way back and putting it behind the Baron, you're making someone actually step behind the Baron. You can aggro. You might even be able to use Syndra, scatter the weak to hit the Baron, and the person would be ideal. Stun them in the pit. But the question is whether or not they're going to be able to hold this line, right? Broken Blade's trying to get assets for himself. He's trying to work on that second item, but they are just so far behind, right? Two items. Not quite two here. That's a big one that they don't have. Tom Kench even going to be working on 2 items. Once we have those 2 items across the board, we might even have a third one from Cassante, then they're going to feel super strong. Cassante already feeling very nice about his side lane matchup. Does not need to worry about the Jax. Contract setting a pit. Is this G2? Are they making a play? Yeah, they have the read that they can get something here. Uses the stopwatch. Senna ultimate actually comes over the top. Ignar jumps over. A little bit of a risk there. One of those scary things, right? You have darkness at your back. You have to be very, very careful. Good job by G2 setting up a position where they could get some aggro for themselves. Good answer into NRG. When NRG's reclaiming the area, and when teams tend to reclaim, they start with a shallow line, and then they recall, they come back out, and then they go for deeper wards, okay? And in that moment where they have the shallow line, you can actually create a nice defensive line of scrimmage for yourself. You can hide behind that, and you can tuck yourself into this area as a Syndra especially. You can throw very long scatter the weaks and try to harass them from reclaiming that vision for themselves. All right, let's look at the team fight formation. This is what NRG did better than Cloud9 in the regional championship. They're actually turning it into an engage. They jump out. Everyone moves together. I love the cohesion here. Everyone going at the same speed. That was incredible how quickly they all jumped out. Like everybody moving together. Nico using flash, Vi using flash, Cassante using flash. They're just saying, no, we are out. We are handling this right now. There's not going to be any doubt for us. We're going to play this full throttle. Now, coming back in, I expect to see either Cassante or Tom Kench holding this line, all right? It turns out it's going to be Tom Kench for a moment. Now, 2 people coming in means he has to chill for a bit. Just jumps into the control word for himself so that he can get a good leap off. Now, Ignar's can use that to reposition. You can actually throw Nico. There is a trick you can do with Nico in this lineup. Hold on, we're going to have a lot of pressure around here. Ignar actually shorts the jump so that they can go for kills. At G2 making the call that we can go for 2 kills. We can't go for the Baron steal. Looks like we had a little bit of a split call there about what to do. That'll be worth going over. But yeah, you can go... Nico can start her channel. Tom Kench can grab and then throw her towards the enemies. We'll see if that ever ends up coming up. So 4 people coming in, straight line formation. You are going through. They already cleared out the control word here. This is the first time out. Boom. Look at these multiple flashes forward. Concussive plays, realizing that they can only ever be in this corridor. So as long as you flash Nico into that corridor and Vi cast her ultimate through that corridor, you're going to be okay. Explosive play, explosive reward. Ignar going here, very safe. Can also shadow them, make sure that they don't have a straight line in. Delay their path in, right? If they're constantly thinking about what might be in the bush, there's at least a Tom Kench, then they're going to go a little bit slower. You buy some time for your team to get more progress done on the Baron, and then you can be more calculated on the coin flip or not coin flip. Win probability has been sitting at 99% for a long time. So when you are in this situation, you got to find a way to shoot your shot, okay? You've got a 1% chance. You need to come up with a Hail Mary. You know, it's one of those situations where it's Hail Mary plus onside kick plus Hail Mary again. It's very unlikely to happen, but it can, right? You got to find a way to shoot your shot. You got to win one fight first. First thing that you want to do is give this dragon. You want to give the soul, and you want to fight for Elder, because you're going to make that shot about this buff right here, Elder Dragon. You make it about one fight, and you say, how much can we try to get at that situation? We have 6 minutes to scale up. Who's going to get an extra item. How strong can we get? I'm talking everything. Elixirs, stopwatches, and control wards. You just fill out the inventory with everything you can possibly get, and you try to win that fight for Elder. And probably trying to do it with a ward that you can jump to behind the fight. Now, Scout of the Week. Good answer by Nico. I like this. You see that Scout of the Week lands on some of your teammates. You don't waste a moment. You say, all right, I'm jumping into you. Everyone on your team is looking at the guy that we just hit. You just splashed some damage onto FBI. No big deal. I'm playing forward. The biggest mistake you can make is as someone gets knocked back, you retreat thinking that, oh, shoot, they just hit some spells. We need to back up. No. Someone on your team got hit. That means you move up. You create threat. And then the continuation play where they're thinking, trying to go forward, you're saying, okay, if you go forward, you're being punished. If you go backwards, then my Senna gets to reset and get back in the fight. So beautifully done. Palafox doing an exceptional job with the follow-ups this game so far. I love how there being an extra cannon right here. A cannon is not something that is so easy to count, right? In this stage in the game, you could even be a caster minion at this stage in the game because it's very difficult to keep track of how many waves are there, but also how many cannons. I absolutely love that the Nico is becoming a cannon at this stage. Much harder to track as waves are stacking up how many cannons there ought to be. First 15 minutes of the game, it's 1 out of 3 waves. Then from 15 to 25, you have it 1 every 2 waves. And then at from 25 on, sorry, I should just do this for the rest of the game, it's every single wave. So this is your way that you can keep track. You can keep an eye on how many waves are coming up, where there should be cannons, but that really needs a keen eye. You need someone on your team that is dedicated towards the macro, which is something they should do, right? Especially junglers should be your best macro players. They should be able to move the pieces around. They were the glue in the early game, and late game they become a support. That's their best job. Give resources to their laners and just move the chess pieces. Your best chess player should be your jungler. Don't put it all in your support because your support has the word stick. They need to worry about how to manipulate vision to make that plan happen. Now, every team can have a different caller. A lot of people like their mid lane to do it. Historically, mid lanes have been some of the best shot callers because in solo queue, you know, it makes the most out of your decisions, how to push and pull waves. Mid lane has the most impact on the game. Junglers have had their run. It's been about a 4-year. Right, hold on, we'll watch this engage. Ooh, Capsking, the Zonya's off very late. Look at this, perfect from Palafox. Sees that the enemy team is trying to vacuum in and says, all right, let's do it. And Pop Blossom, it is interrupting some of the spells and getting their own cleanup. Ignar still super, super strong in the middle of these fights, playing with a ton of confidence. Dokla actually missing a flash going forward, but FBI is starting to get massive. 125 stacks. Look at the range of FBI right now in this fight. He can tag the turret from here, guys. Is Ignar going to try to eat him here? Yeah. Oh, he's going to... Oh, styling to end the game. That shows me that NRG is confident too. Man, this is actually a really good sign for NA, guys. Well played.